Good morning. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2020. Every year, the Medicare deductible resets because it's a calendar year deductible. So today, I'm going to talk about how that affects you if you're on Medicare Supplement Plan G or Plan N, or heck, no Medicare supplement whatsoever, but you're on Original Medicare. This is one of my favorite scenes of anywhere. It's the sunrise over Charleston, South Carolina, where I happen to live. We have clients in over 45 states around the country. Over 45 means 46. So we have 46 states now where we have clients across the country. Medicare works the same all over the country, and we help folks with their Medicare insurance by telephone, so we don't even have to come to your house. Every year, every January, we have to satisfy the Medicare deductible before we have coverage. And with the new law called MACRA that went into effect January 1 of 2020, now, no one can buy the old plan, no one new to Medicare that is, can buy Plan F or Plan C. Those were the plans that paid for your deductible for you. So this deductible conversation is going to be even more relevant for everyone going forward on a Medicare supplement past 2020. So every calendar year, January 1st, the Part B deductible of Medicare must be satisfied first before those supplements kick in. What does that mean? A deductible means that you go to the doctor and the first part of the year, the first part of the bills, you have to pay 100% out of your pocket. So for 2020, that Part B deductible, that's the outpatient part of Medicare, is $198. So the first time you go to the doctor, if your bill is less than $198, you're paying all of it at the beginning of the year. You're going to pay all of your outpatient bills until such time as you've reached that $198. Then on Plan G Medicare supplement, you're done paying for the rest of the year. On Plan N, that's when the copays start, when you're seeing a provider, when you're seeing the doctor. You're going to pay 20% of the doctor bill when you're face-to-face with a doctor on Plan N, up to a maximum of $20 each time. Our clients are reporting to us that that's about $14 is what they're averaging when they're paying when they're going to see a doctor. Important also to remember, on Plan N Medicare supplement, a lot of people forget that you don't pay a copay when you do certain things on Plan N, like x-rays, lab work, even physical therapy visits and those kind of things. The Plan N copay only applies when you're seeing a provider face-to-face. So with 2020, if you go into the hospital, it's not going to cost you anything if you have Medicare Supplement Plan F or Plan G or Plan N. Go in the hospital and those Medicare supplements pay for it 100%. Matter of fact, any hospital coast to coast across the United States that accepts Original Medicare. That's kind of nice. You don't even have to check and see. It's just paid for because you're on a Medicare supplement, the best kind of insurance you possibly could get. So if you don't have a Medicare supplement, then you also have to satisfy that deductible with Medicare, the $198 on the outpatient side. But when you go into the hospital, you have to pay $1,408. So it's $1,408 to walk into the hospital per benefit period, which is up to 60 days in the hospital with Medicare if you don't have a Medicare supplement. But again, if you have Plan F, Plan G, or Plan N, that's paid for 100% when you go into the hospital. One little note on Plan N, don't forget there is a copay of $50 if you go to the emergency room and you're not admitted to the hospital. That's only on Plan N. If you're fully admitted to the hospital, there is no such $50 copay, it goes away. So what's new for 2020? We have a lot of people on Medicare Advantage plans. They got lured in either because it's the only thing they could do, they couldn't afford their Medicare supplement anymore, or they fell for one of the $0 monthly premium bait and switch tactics, which means the following. When you go to the hospital on a Medicare Advantage plan, typically it's a per day charge. Remember, on Original Medicare, if you had no supplement whatsoever, it's $1,408 in 2020 to walk in the door at a hospital, 100% covered by Medicare Supplement Plan F, G, or N. But on a Medicare Advantage plan, especially the HMO version, you have to check and see, is that hospital in the network? Because if it's not, and it's not an emergency, you're paying for that 100% out of your pocket. And I mean the whole bill. You don't pay the $1,408 because you're not governed under Original Medicare if you're on a Medicare Advantage plan for the purposes of what you pay. Now, if you go to an out-of-network hospital on a Medicare Advantage HMO plan, you're going to pay 100% of that hospital bill. because it's not covered unless it's an emergency. So some people say, well, I'm covered on an emergency, so what happens then? What happens then is they'll pay for you to get stabilized. After you're stabilized in an emergency on a Medicare Advantage HMO, what are they going to do then? Well, it's your responsibility then, once you're stable, to get into an in-network hospital. So, as happened to one of our friends, you have someone who's on a trip like to Las Vegas. They have an emergency. Let's say you stepped in front of a bus. You're in the hospital. Now you're stabilized out of the critical part. It's no longer an emergency visit. Now they've got to get you into an in-network hospital. Well, what if you're on a regional HMO plan back in your home state? Well, you better get yourself back there, get into that hospital. Otherwise, after the emergency part, it's all going to be on your dime. That comes as quite a surprise. They think that it's from start to finish on the emergency side. It's not. One thing to look for. As we start the new year, we're also in the Medicare Advantage disenrollment period, just FYI, which means all the way in through March of the year, you could choose to leave a Medicare Advantage plan or get a different one, or just go back to original Medicare. What we've seen a lot is folks are leaving their Medicare Advantage plan the first time that they find out maybe their doctor has left the network, even though they were sold on the fact that their doctor was in the network, or they're finding out what happens if they come down, God forbid, with cancer, and they're exposed now to 20% of the entire bill, which a lot of people on Medicare Advantage just simply don't know that. And if you're on a Medicare Advantage plan, I strongly encourage you, look at your summary of benefits. Look closely. By now you should have the book. What happens if you're diagnosed with cancer? It happens all too often for people in their 70s, primarily is what we see. And so if you're exposed to literally 20% of the bill, if you have cancer, all the outpatient, all the treatment, everything, the chemotherapy, all of it, and that 80% that they pay, that only goes toward in-network providers that they authorize and the course and the extent of the treatment that they allow. Anything beyond that, anything beyond their network on an HMO, anything beyond the exact course of treatment authorized by them is 100% on you, you're out of pocket. So the best case scenario, if, God forbid, you got cancer on a Medicare Advantage plan, typical HMO, you're paying 20% of the bill as long as you do everything that they say. The course of treatment that they say that you have to do with the providers, the oncologists, the facilities, the doctors, and the hospitals that they say you have to go through. If you want to go out of that, it's 100% on you. So best case scenario is you're only paying 20% of a massive bill. I digress. So a lot of people are finding out what these benefits actually are, what they entail. They've done some more research. It's called buyer's remorse. Oftentimes they find out that something that sounds too good to be true literally is too good to be true. And during that first quarter of the year, Medicare has now made an accommodation for those people who've said, wait a minute, what did I do? Let me get the heck off of this plan and go back to a Medicare supplement. So in most all states, now New York, Connecticut, Vermont, we're not talking about you. You can change Medicare supplement plans anytime you want to without underwriting. You can get a Medicare supplement plan during the first quarter during this disenrollment period without worrying about underwriting approval. But for everyone else, if you want to go from a Medicare Advantage plan to a Medicare supplement, first of all, you have to do it during this first quarter of the year, during this, what they call the disenrollment period. Now they call it the open enrollment period. But you first have to get the supplement approved. And in most states, you have to get underwriting approval, which means answering some health questions that are not that onerous on you whatsoever. And that's what we specialize in, is getting somebody the best plan. So if you're looking for a Medicare supplement plan and you're not in Alaska, Hawaii, or Washington, D.C., pretty much we can help you with that. Our phone number is listed down here below. And if you have any questions or confusion about Medicare, I either have a video about that or we can answer that question. If you come to our website called seniorsavingsnetwork.org and you click on the Medicare Help button, there are different categories of help that we can provide. That is someone brand new to Medicare in open enrollment, either turning 65 or because you've continued working, you're brand new to Part B. That's your open enrollment period. We can certainly help with that and get you acclimated to the Medicare lifestyle and experiencing what you're going to go through. The other part is you're on a Medicare supplement plan and you've not checked your rate in over 2 years. I can pretty much guarantee you that you're paying too much for that same Medicare supplement. So you might even have the best plan, but just the wrong company because you let that thing go. It's kind of like a cable bill or a phone bill. If you let these folks go too long without checking the rate and keeping them in check, sometimes even switching to the same company, but a better plan or a better rate, we can do that for you too. That's the Medicare supplement to Medicare supplement. Then there's the category I mentioned a few minutes ago, and that was coming from Medicare Advantage and then going back to original Medicare with a supplement. There's some tricky dates involved there. And actually go over that right on my website, seniorsavingsnetwork.org, on that tab, Medicare Advantage to Medicare supplement. You have to get underwritten first, answer the health questions, and my gosh, I am stunned, absolutely bewildered at the number of people who have told us right before January 1, literally December 31st, people calling the office and saying, I lose my benefits December 31st. I need a plan for January 1. Let's do it now. Even on New Year's Day, I had people calling the office saying, I need a Medicare supplement to be effective today. Sometimes it doesn't work that way. If you're in open enrollment, we could even make it effective the same day, no problem if we're in the office. Most people don't work exactly on New Year's Day or on Sundays, but there are still folks that expect it to happen that day immediately, right then. We had a lady call on Christmas Eve and said, I need to get this done right this minute, right now. And we closed the office. I let everybody go home at 12 on Christmas Eve. So it just blows my mind with something so so important. It has so much bearing. Oh my gosh, how beautiful. Huge flock of birds flying at me. Something so important as your Medicare, that is just beautiful. To put it off and to not give it the deference it deserves, by either talking to an expert that does nothing but Medicare, like we do in my office, or by giving it enough time to go through an underwriting process if you require it, it shocks me. Yeah, we do everything we can to accommodate people who put it off to the last minute. But really, if you're going for an underwritten Medicare supplement plan, you should give it at least 2 weeks. During the last part of the year, the annual enrollment period, at least a month. We try to set the expectations correctly because all the companies are under a great amount of time pressure and stress to get things done, especially at the end of the year. But thank God now we're through that. We're in the first quarter and things are calming down with the companies. One of our companies, it is still underwriting cases looking back December 14th, and that's as of January 5th. That's just crazy. They're so far behind. A lot of people are upset because they did not get their ID cards in the mail yet for a January 1 switch date, and some of them signed up like December 20th, and they're surprised that they didn't get the ID cards yet. It's no surprise to us. It's literally the biggest Medicare enrollment season on record coming into 2020. And almost every insurance company that I know of is behind on getting things out. But as things calm down, as things get settled into the new year, we're going to get back into the mode of typically moving people from a bad, older Medicare supplement plan, especially Plan F and now Plan G, and looking to see if there's a better solution for them on Plan N, because in most cases there are. You can save so much money. And we're hearing now more than ever that a lot of people have let these plans go so long on a Plan F or a Plan G that now they can't afford it anymore. So now they're more susceptible to these pitches of, hey, you got a zero premium plan, just come into the Medicare Advantage plan. And it's a very sad thing to give up your freedom, your flexibility to go anywhere on a Medicare supplement and an original Medicare, only because they've let that plan go too long and now it's out of their budget, out of control. So before that happens, and now it's not even the annual enrollment period, so you couldn't go to those plans, but before you give up and drop a Medicare supplement plan, as we've seen some people talk about in the media, really need to look at what the other options are. And they may include a Plan N Medicare supplement, even maybe a high deductible Medicare supplement. It's much better than going without, either being on original Medicare with nothing else and being exposed to 20% of Part B bills, which have absolutely no limit, no maximum out of pocket whatsoever. That's a scary thought. Or having to, if you could even, go on a Medicare HMO where they control what you can have done, where you can have it done, and to the extent that you can have the treatment at all. So there are other options out there, and I encourage you to explore those. So welcome to 2020. New opportunities with Medicare include getting on a better plan, a better company, and having an agent that looks out for you and is literally on the cutting edge of what's happening with Medicare. I'm Chris Westfall. If we can help you, come to my website, seniorsavingsnetwork.org. You can get a lot of free education there, maybe help you right where you are, or get us to help you and let us be your advocate. It doesn't cost a dime more to have an agent working for you than if you went and did all the research yourself and signed up directly with the insurance company. The difference is you have an advocate on your side if you get us involved. It doesn't cost you anything more. I'm Chris Westfall. Have a great day, and thanks for joining me on this beautiful sunrise overlooking Charleston, South Carolina. Take care.